Hello there everyone, here's a review of Kamen Rider Fourze BaseStates. This is a little different for me from what I'm usually known for reviewing, which is Lego. This is my first Japanese toy I believe I've ever reviewed. You know, Japan, that has the Gundams and the metal alchemists in full. So, I got stuff like this coming. I want to see the response this gets. And we'll see how things play out, but we'll see. My first time recording in a light box. I'm not in the box, he is, but that's a bad joke. I also have a stage microphone and decent editing software, so yeah, I'm back. Probably gonna be really irrelevant to you who don't even know my past YouTube history, but hey, let's just continue on with the review. Fourze himself looks very glossy, very astronaut-like because, well, he's an astronaut. Nice little details. If you can really make that out, he's got little like lines going across, little cross hitches going across his suit to make it look like an actual astronaut suit. I feel like I'm pandering, but I'm not. Very metallic looking orange on there, along with the silver, really pops out to the entire suit. Also, those eyes. Man, those eyes. Compound orange eyes really look good. You can tell if you move them side to side, you can tell they look like they're moving, but they're not. It's a nice little effect. Also, he has this belt. It's a really cool looking belt on a trans blue. And he's got little tiny color things there. Let's take a closer look at that. Okay, and here is the Fourze Driver. This is what Gentaro, the name of the human, turns into Fourze. That's what he uses. It is a series of hitting those little 4 red flaps, pulling the lever, and he becomes Fourze in a rather cool way, I might add. Now, the switches you see, there are only 4. And overall, there are 40 plus different switches to represent the 40 years of Kamen Rider. They are not representative of each year. I don't want to know of the year of the Rocket. Rocket being the first switch, the orange one to the far left, followed by Launcher, Drill, and Radar. These are pretty much known as just the default switches he always uses to transform with. It's marginally just these 4. Now, in a small comparison, and when I mean small, I mean it, he does come with an extra switch, which I put in this bucket and I forgot to take out. My bad. Okay, here is a dime, so you can use that for comparison. And the extra switch he comes with is this big. It is a collapsed version of the drill switch. This one's a little not as yellow as the other one, but I rarely ever use it because I don't like switching out these little tiny things. This thing's around the 5th, even smaller of a dime. So be very cautious in ever losing these. Put them in a bucket or something. Just be careful. Really tiny. As for posability, this is an S.H.Figuarts figure. The line is very well known for being extremely posable compared to what we have in America, and this is actually pretty impressive if you've never seen these type of figures before, and I certainly was impressed the first time I saw my first. First of all, the head. It's on 2 little ball joints, so you can move its head side to side all the way around. He's got a little ball joint in the neck, so you can turn that too. That's good. The arms, they can go out. They can have a 360-degree turn, a double hinged elbow, and in a cool little bit of way, there's a hinge inside the wrist, and there's also a ball joint in the wrist, so he can get a lot of movement out of the hand. In the upper torso, there is a small, very small little bit of give here in the orange stripes, but that breaks up the mold a bit, so I don't have to use that. But there is a main waist ball joint they can turn around in. The hips are a staple of Figuarts. Sure, they can move out and about like this, but you can bend them down. Bend them down like that. And that gives them more of leeway to give giant flying kicks into the ground. The knee does have a double hinge, gives a fair give, and the ankle does move back and forth, and a little give side to side. Whoop, whoop. And the toe can bend. So a lot of points of articulation. You can really go off some really good poses from the show, and anything he does in the show can be done with this figure, which is pretty astounding. As you can see, he does have fists for hands, and they're pretty basic. He does come with those in box, but he does have other hands, which one of them messed up. My bad. As you see here, he does have those extra hands, both very similar. These hands are just calm, open hands, while these ones are also calm, but they also have a pointing finger for the henshin pose he uses. Henshin meaning transform, his transformation pose. It'll come. It'll come in time. Now, don't worry about that. Now, he does come with 2 other final accessories, 2 of which I've yet to show until now, so why don't we get to showing them? First off, number 1. Rocket number 1, his first ever switch he ever used. So, it's a rocket for his right arm. I'm gonna state right now that if you think this is goofy, they get a lot goofier as they go along, especially within the 30s and 40s. So yeah, the rocket looks really detailed. Everything's panel lined. It looks pretty cool. Give a little turnaround. Nothing to really complain there. He can do some good poses. Like from the show, he can just go, woo, what am I doing? Flip the feet back. Whoa! I should mention that how to get the rocket on the arm, you take off the forearm of Fourze. Each 4 of the lower limbs can detach. It's kind of hard sometimes to get them out, so be a little careful taking them out. Don't do it too much. You'll wear down the plastic. But, it's hard to get the rocket in there, but it's easy to get the limbs back in. But it's also really hard for me to get this next one in. Number 3. And here we have number 3, Drill, which is incredibly big for his leg. By which I mean the length is pretty insane. Take a look at that. He can't stand, he's just flopping over. Which is why he has to go in like a Captain Morgan stance in order for him to pose. Like so. But the detail is pretty cool. It's all panel lined like the rocket. A very nice solid color of yellow. Very detail-y too, it's insane. Also the drill, a nice solid color of silver. And you can also, if you want to, spin the drill. It has no real purpose, but you can do that. But there is another purpose for both of these modules, and I will show that right now. Rocket Drill Kick. Really cool looking pose. In combination, he uses the power of the drill and the firepower of the rocket to forcefully act as like a giant bullet as a finishing move to an enemy. Seldom uses it later on in the series, but he uses it a lot during the beginning. It's very cool looking, but there's a major complaint about this. There are some pieces that gives you a little stand for the drill for when he's standing. A stand itself to prop Fourze up so you don't have to look at my gigantic hand. And some fire effect parts to put on the back of the rocket to make it look like it's actually going. The problem with that? It comes sold separately, as a different set altogether. So, for a figure that comes with not that many accessories, he really could have used that extra set to come with him. But, for what you get in the package, I'm fairly content. But now I might have to drop some extra money to get a stand to make this actually feasible. But, I can't complain. It still looks pretty cool. Overall, this is an astounding figure. The BaseStates version of Fourze is aesthetically the most appealing compared to the 5+ suits he has ever donned. This space shuttle white suit glossed with a matte black and shiny silver and orange really pops, along with the 4 shapes he has on each limb. The compound orange eyes add depth, complementing the rocket head. The trans blue Fourze Driver is a great representation of the show version, able to pull back on the handle and replace the teeny tiny switches. Not to mention the immense posability, giving him creative physical expression that really adds character. I only wish he came with more accessories like the 4 modules he has in the belt instead of the 2. However, they will be sold separately, as well as the other switches in different packs. And that was my review of Kamen Rider Fourze. Now this figure was picked up on HLJ.com, my go-to site for getting these types of toys. All the links below that are provided to share the Kamen Rider love, anything I need to get out of for copyright issues, are down below. Also, if you liked the video, make sure to rate and subscribe, and share this video. Show your friends if you thought this video was cool. Alright, this is Shadow Gears 655 signing off, and goodbye. See you next time.